Welcome to Attic Raiders Retro Reviews, where today we're going to be looking at the Scavengers 2 figure kit, which was just released at Salute 51 on April 13th last month. Scavengers 2 is the 7th plastic figure set to be released by North Star Military Figures for Stargrave, a sci-fi wargame created by Joseph McCullough, and follows on from their previous kits Crew, Crew 2, Troopers, Mercenaries, Mercenaries 2 and Scavengers, which was released last year in July and which I reviewed here on this channel. The box has got some nice painted artwork on the front showing some Scavengers, but this is not the first time that we've seen this piece of artwork, as it was originally published on page 36 of 2022's Stargrave Hope Eternal. Each set comes with enough parts to build 20 plastic figures, with a box containing 4 identical sprues. This being Scavengers 2, the 2 denotes that this is a kit of female figures. They did exactly the same thing with Crew 2, that was all females, and with Mercenaries 2, again that was a female kit. So we can see the bodies here, and we've got 5 bodies on each sprue. These basically have got breasts, which really is the only thing that denotes a difference between them, between these and the Scavengers 1 kit. So we've got 5 different bodies on here, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and you can see, unlike North Star's Frostgrave figures which have built-in bases, the Stargrave figures just have feet at the bottom. They don't have any bases built into these. They do, however, come with some nice, or very plain, flat, circular bases. We can see on the layout of this sprue, we've got a whole range of heads across the top here. Then we've got lots of different guns. Most of these on the Scavenger sprues tend to be quite large guns, but we've got different range of guns, shotguns, we've got axes. This particular one has got a hand holding it, so you can cut off the hand of another arm and replace it with this axe hand. We've got backpacks on here as well. There's some hand weapons in here. We've got some tools. This seems to be some kind of foldable shovel here. I say it's a foldable shovel because further down here we've got the same thing in its compact folded form. Again, being Scavengers, these guns, the quite large ones, they've got quite a lot of wrappings on them. So you see different parts are tied onto them. For instance, here, or here, or this I suppose would be a piece of camouflage on this gun here, but the other kits don't have these kind of tied on ad hoc wrappings to them. It's only in this Scavengers 2 and Scavengers 1 kits that we see that. There is on the sprue here, these parts here are particularly for making zombies. So in Stargrave Quarantine 37, which calls for zombies in the game, you can use these arms and these 2 heads in order to make zombies. And we've got more heads down here. You will find with any of the Stargrave kits that you will always end up with huge amounts of leftover pieces. As we say, there's only 5 bodies on here, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 zombie heads, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 different heads plus 2 zombie heads, but only 5 bodies. And the same kind of thing with arms. You're going to get loads and loads of pieces left over. There's masses of customization available for this. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to start clipping these pieces off, arrange them logically, and see exactly what all we've got in here when they're arranged properly. Over here we've got 8 carbines with the hands that go with them in order to hold them. Down here we've got 2 shotguns with the hands that go to hold them. We've got a grenade launcher up here with the hand that goes to hold it, but the grenade launcher has also got a separate clip that the grenades are in, and there's also a separate hand that, because this can either be installed directly into the gun and displayed that way, or because it's free, it can go into this hand here so it can be held separately as if it's being loaded in. We've got 1 pistol with a hand that goes to hold it. And then we've got 2 carbines and 2 pistols here, which don't have any hands which go with them. We've got 2 hand weapons here. We've got a retractable spade, some binoculars and a pointing arm. Up here we've got the zombie parts with those 4 arms and those 2 heads. Unlike the Scavengers 1 kit, these sleeves don't feature any rips and the hands don't have any missing flesh, so you could use these arms to make non-zombie figures if you wanted to. We've got 4 holstered pistols, we've got 4 clips in pouches, we've got some more loose clips, pouches and grenades, we've got a water bottle, 2 other pouches and a knife sheath. We've got the knife hand that goes with that sheath, and we've got an axe hand here. And then we've got these 3 hand weapons and this retractable spade, which matches this one here, which can get attached to a belt or onto a back. There's obviously our 5 bodies, our 5 bases, and we've got 3 backpacks here. So as you can see, there's only 3 backpacks, so if you wanted to have all of your scavengers with a backpack, you're not going to be able to do that. And down here, the part that I'm most interested in is we've got our 21 different heads. And in case you're going to put all of these pieces into your bits box, then all of these different weapons and arms, they have numbers on the shoulder joints, so you can match up which particular hand is supposed to grip which particular gun, because they do go together really nicely when you use the numbers that you're meant to. As I noted with the previous Scavengers kit, I think the detail has definitely been upped on these kits. You can see the grenades here, the rings on the grenades are much more pronounced on these ones than in previous kits, making them much easier to paint. And the pouches down here, instead of just having rectangles where they connect, you can see that there are leather straps and buckle arrangements on here, which we've not seen on previous kits. And the backpacks look more detailed as well, with creases and folds in them and just the general uneven shape of them compared to previous backpacks in previous Stargrave kits. I really like the inclusion of the binoculars, which is a kit part which we've not seen in previous Stargrave sets before. And this retractable spade is a rather nice new piece of equipment as well. Personally, I would have liked to have seen 2 extra backpacks so that every scavenger could be equipped with one, and some more hands holding things other than weapons would have been nice. Things like data pads, spanners, cases, or computer pieces. As far as the non-zombie heads go, most of the heads in this female kit are human, which is a bit of a shame because I really do prefer the alien figures in Stargrave. You can see this one here has got some shades on. We've got breathing apparatus here. This is a nice Tusken Raider-esque breathing piece that this one's got. We've got a bandana covering this person's mouth with some goggles. We've got some cornrows in this one's hair. And this one, we've got this piece of breathing equipment here, this hose, which connects into this piece here with some wraparound shades. We've got somebody who is hooded here who might make a nice mystic. We've got this person here with big curly hair. We've got a bald-headed female here, which I think is the first bald-headed female that has been brought out in a Stargrave kit. And we've got this one here with kind of like pilot goggles and leather flying cap almost. We've got one of the classic fan favourite chimpanzee head sculpts here. This one, they've just taken the chimpanzee and put a hat on it and a pair of glasses. We've got another chimpanzee head on this piece here, this time with a bionic eye added onto the head sculpt. We've got this four-eyed alien here, which I think looks like the exact same head sculpt as one that has been shown previously in Stargrave kits. We've got this very cyberpunk looking female over here with these really thin glasses and the big Mohican punk hairdo. We've got a hooded, robed figure here, which again could be a mystic, and another hooded female over here with some goggles on. Some more bionic eyes on these ones here, and again these are previous alien species which we've seen before, but they've got some bionic eye pieces added onto them in order to change them up from what's been released previously. And we've got this rather angry looking alien female here with the elf-like pointed ears, and I believe that this is an exact copy of a previously released head sculpt. We've got this female here has got an eye patch, which is something we haven't seen before in Stargrave, and this person over here is wearing lots of bandages wrapped around their face to keep them safe from the toxic radiation when they're scavenging. So with this vast multitude of pieces that we can work with, I think it's time to start gluing them together and see what figures we can come up with. The moulded detail is nice and crisp and sharp in that rounded, cartoony Stargrave style, and the production mould lines have been positioned so that they're not really very visible, but you will find a bit of flashing on the surfaces. It's not a lot, but I would recommend scraping it off with a blade. And while I usually wouldn't bother with small caliber weapons, this set has a lot of large weapons which have wide diameters of barrels, so I would recommend drilling them out with a hand drill. The grenade launcher seems potentially fragile, so be very careful when you're boring that out, and I would do that before attaching it to anything. Most of these pieces go together really well. However, when it's necessary to have two arms both holding the same piece of equipment, then that does cause problems, mostly because of the breasts on these figures, which get in the way of the arm placement, and I have found that I've had to slice part of the breasts off in order to try and get those arms to be in place in a natural looking manner. And there are some guns like this one here that only seem to work on some of the bodies because of that aforementioned breast problem, which is something that you might expect if you were kit bashing, but from a single kit you would expect all of the pieces to go together in any order. The connection point where the head meets the body is also at a very downward diagonal angle, which doesn't match the bottom of the neck pieces. So unless you want your heads all to be looking down towards the ground, you are going to have to slice the neck at the bottom at a slight angle in order to get those heads to look up and forward more. I've also found that the hoods or the hair sticking out the back of the head have made it quite difficult with the high collar that's on the jacket of most of these figures, and I've had to cut down that collar slightly in order to get those heads to fit on in place. So overall, this Scavengers 2 kit does not go together as nicely or as easily as some of the previous Stargrave kits. I also find it's a shame that they haven't introduced any new alien species in this kit, and two of the alien heads that we do have are exact duplicates of previous kits without any extra pieces added onto them in order to make them look different. The grenade launcher is a really nice piece, but I worry that without the bottom piece connected into it, it's quite fragile and liable to snap. So while I do love this set and will continue to buy all the Stargrave figure releases, this is not one of my favourites. Even after we've finished building the 5 figures, there's still masses of pieces left over. And remember, this is just 1 out of 4 sprues in the box. So I hope you enjoy kit bashing, and remember that these parts interchange really well with all of the different Stargrave kits. But you can see here, the finished figures look really nice and they're going to be fun to paint up. Now, I haven't painted these ones yet But as an extra bonus, here's the Scavengers 1 set from my review last year, finally painted up and ready for the table. Thanks for joining me taking a look at this new Scavengers 2 set. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. What do you think of this set? And how do you feel about the Stargrave figures in general? I hope you'll join us next time where we'll have more vintage board games and wargaming pieces on Attic Raiders Retro Reviews.